You're right, Isaac. The Ishimura is a great ship. I am so lucky to be serving aboard her.
Enjoy it while it lasts. You know they're gonna decommission her next year.
Isaac, thank you.
For what?
For just pushing me to do this. I mean, if it weren't for you, I never would have made it this far, because you made me stick with it.
I'll just remember, I'm giving you up for 6 months so you can do this.
You know what? We must be getting on a range there, Isaac. Isaac, can you hear me? Look, I'm gonna call you back as soon as I can, okay?
With the Dead Space franchise coming back from the dead soon, fans of the series have been taking plenty of strolls down memory lane and looking to refresh themselves on its key points, especially from a narrative point of view. If you're in that group, we've got you covered.
Why'd you come looking for me if you knew I was dead, Isaac?
Recently, we took a look at the full story of the original Dead Space, and here, we'll be continuing that ride and go through the story of Dead Space 2 from beginning to end. While Dead Space 1's story is characterized primarily by mysteries, conspiracies, and fear of the unknown, its sequel takes a much deeper dive into the psychological side of things. That is, of course, an important part of the story in the original game as well, but in Dead Space 2, protagonist Isaac Clarke is a broken man, literally where his mind is concerned. His encounters with the marker and the events that transpired on the USG Ishimura and Aegis 7 have extracted toll from him, and he is continuously losing his grip on reality. The game is set 3 years after the events of its predecessor. The events involving the USG Ishimura, the marker, and the Necromorph Outbreak that happened at Aegis 7 have been covered up by the Earth government, or EarthGov. And in spite of the dangers of messing around with markers having been proven beyond a doubt, the people in charge aren't backing down. Another red marker is located at the Sprawl, a massive space station, more or less a city in and of itself, built into a massive splinter of one of Saturn's moons, Titan, which is broken into multiple pieces long ago following a planet-cracking operation. More experiments on this particular marker have continuously been conducted behind the scenes, and incidentally, this is also where Isaac Clarke finds himself. After everything that happened to him 3 years ago, Isaac is suffering from crippling mental illness, from dementia to hallucinations, the latter of which have continued to manifest as his dead girlfriend Nicole. To make matters worse, his experience with the marker meant that he came out of the other end with an imprint of the artifact design embedded into his mind, which in turn meant that he was captured almost immediately by EarthGov, thrown into an asylum on the Sprawl, and then tortured so that information could be extracted. As part of the process, which also involved consistent and heavy dosages of memory-blocking drugs, Isaac has little to no memory of anything that's happened since the destruction of Aegis 7. Dead Space 2 kicks off with Isaac strapped to a chair inside of a hospital on the Sprawl. Promptly after the game begins, Isaac is freed by Franco DeLille, an engineer working on Titan Station who's also a unitologist, and incidentally the main protagonist of spin-off puzzle title, Dead Space Ignition. He doesn't last long though. The Sprawl, you see, has also been overtaken by Necromorph Outbreaks. To no one's surprise, the marker on the Sprawl is exerting its influence and the massive metropolis is teeming with necromorphs. As soon as Isaac is freed, Franco is killed and transformed into a necromorph, and soon after Isaac deals with him and finally manages to catch a breath, he's contracted by a woman named Dana Le Guin, who, unbeknownst to Isaac, is a unitologist herself and has been sent to the Sprawl to extract Isaac from EarthGov's clutches, capture him, and bring him back. Though she obviously keeps that to herself, she briefs him on where he is and that he's been EarthGov's prisoner, while also revealing that the data imprinted in his mind was used by Hans Tiedemann, a high-ranking EarthGov official and the administrative director of the Sprawl, to create the marker that is wreaking havoc on the station. She tells him that she can help him get rid of his crippling dementia, and tells him to find his way to her. As Isaac makes his way through the necromorph-ridden station, he's also contacted by a man named Nolan Strass, who, as it turns out, was a scientist working for the EarthGov and was at Aegis 7 when the incident with the marker took place. Like Isaac, Strass is a rare survivor of the incident, and like Isaac, he has escaped with his mind heavily fractured. As such, he too has been a captive of the EarthGov on the Sprawl since then, and interestingly, when he contacts Isaac, he tells him that the two of them together can destroy the marker on the station. Isaac, however, wants no part of that, and his sole focus is on getting to Dana. He eventually manages to find his way to her, at which point she does end up revealing to him that she was sent by the Unitologists, whose goal is to use the data in his mind to create their own markers, just as Tiedemann has been able to do on the Sprawl. As she's preparing to leave with him though, they are attacked by EarthGov soldiers and gunships. Dana succumbs to the ambush and dies, and Isaac is able to grab the opportunity and slip away. As he makes his escape, Isaac runs into Strass, and this time being much more acutely aware of the importance of destroying the marker, not to mention his severe lack of any other options, he's much more willing, if a little reluctantly so, to listen to what his fellow prisoner/patient has to say. Strass tells him that to destroy the marker, Isaac will need to make his way to it in the government sector of the Sprawl, which, inconveniently enough, is in lockdown thanks to the Necromorph Outbreak, and use a machine there to unlock the marker data in his own mind. Not long afterward, Isaac and Strass also cross paths with Ellie Langford, a pilot and a fellow survivor of the Necromorph Outbreak on the Sprawl. Being fully aware of the fact that she needs their help to be able to survive the outbreak and make it out alive, she agrees to join them and aid them on their mission. The journey to the government sector proves to be an eventful and harrowing one. For starters, Isaac's mental state is continuing to deteriorate, and he's progressively seeing more and more hallucinations of Nicole, each progressively more aggressive and more violent than the last. All of that is made worse by the fact that the journey to the government sector takes Isaac through the ruins of the Ishimura, kept on the Sprawl by the EarthGov as part of the Aegis 7 cover-up and the continued experimentation with markers on the station. Going through the ship's ruins triggers some pretty nasty hallucinations for Isaac as well, as you might imagine. Strass, meanwhile, is even further gone than Isaac, and his mind is much closer to breaking, almost to the point where it could shatter at any moment. To top it all off, Isaac is forced to not only deal with all of the necromorphs that lie in his path, but also with Tiedemann's attempt to stop him from getting to the government sector, which is where he himself is holed up as well. And of course, things go from bad to worse, as they often do during that journey. Strass's mental condition worsens quickly and drastically, and ultimately gets to a breaking point, one from which there's no turning back. In a manic state, Strass attacks Ellie, and though she manages to survive, she doesn't escape unscathed, with Strass gouging out one of her eyes with a screwdriver in a fit of uncontrolled rage. Later, Isaac is forced to kill Strass in self-defense. Eventually, Isaac is able to get to the government sector with Ellie's help, though by this time, he has grown quite fond of her, and wanting to make sure that she doesn't die on the Sprawl, he tricks her into boarding a shuttle and then sends her away. By now, he has fully accepted that the path he is on is only going to end one way, him sacrificing himself to destroy the marker. As he reaches the government sector, Isaac is able to get past Tiedemann's soldiers by letting the necromorphs in and use them as a distraction. As the soldiers and necromorphs fight and kill each other, Isaac makes his way to the location of the marker, where he sees swarms of necromorphs preparing to begin the event known as Convergence, which essentially is the ultimate end goal of necromorph transformations. Using a machine, he is able to unlock the tainted part of his mind, and then makes his way to the marker itself, also crossing paths with and killing Tiedemann in the process. Upon reaching the marker, Nicole appears in front of him one final time, telling him that part of the convergence process is for the marker to absorb the body and mind of its creator and be one with it. This particular marker's creator, of course, is Isaac himself, since it was the data in his mind that was used to create it. A climactic battle ensues, and for the second time in his life, Isaac is able to defeat the marker and destroy it completely, and in the process is also able to completely free himself of its influence on his mind, including the relentless hallucinations of Nicole. The battle between the two, however, is fierce and destructive, and triggers a collapse of the entire station. Isaac has by now accepted that there's no way out for him, but just as he slumps to the ground, having accepted his fate, he's contacted and rescued by Ellie, who flies in the gunship she previously escaped in. As the station crumbles behind them, Isaac and Ellie are able to fly away. And that's the full story of Dead Space 2 from start to finish. We have one more installment to cover to finish recounting the story of Isaac Clarke, so stay tuned for our full story recap of Dead Space 3. Hey, did you know that we at Gaming Bolt upload new videos every day? Stick around, drop a like, subscribe, and hit that bell, and let us know what kind of content you'd like to see in the future with a comment below.